The young guys, I tell them all the time. I haven't told them, but I wonder, why when you start making big money, the next thing I do, I see you at the ringside with $250,000, $300,000.
Well, they ain't never had it, you know, right? And it's like, that's what they've been looking at when they didn't have it.
Here's a case of having men around you. Where's somebody to say, wait a minute, man, you can take this money, put yourself in a position where you can own the jewelry store.
Hey Floyd, do you think if you only have one arm, you would still manifest this life and success? You'd find a way to do it?
Man, I'll be cold-blooded with one arm. I'll be cold-blooded with two arms. And please get the necklaces for the ladies and gentlemen.
We gotta zoom in, man.
You know?
I've only seen CZs like that before.
Oh, no, these ain't no armor, man.
I should have worn sunglasses.
You already know, ain't no CZ.
TMZ. Floyd says roughly $100 million worth of bling has handed over to a Miami jeweler for only $13 million in return. And he said a huge chunk of the collection is still sitting with the dealer. Floyd also says he unknowingly signed paperwork transferring ownership of his Gulfstream jet with a buyer section left blank, and says he still doesn't know where the aircraft money went.
Everyone has seen the videos of Floyd Mayweather unlocking large cases filled with expensive watches, showing piles of $100 bills from luxury backpacks, and paying cash for collections of exotic cars. But behind that flashy display is a complicated financial situation that has many well-known voices in sports questioning whether the numbers really make sense. The biggest question is not only how much money he earned, but also how quickly a billion-dollar empire can begin falling apart under the pressure of spending that cannot continue forever.
Ocho, with the lavish lifestyle that Floyd has built over the years, the jet, the entourage, non-stop spending, has he created a lifestyle that when he was making $200, $400 million a year, he was able to enjoy? Has he created something that he can no longer keep up with?
Yeah, I think so, because if you think about Floyd obviously having to maintain the image of being Money Mayweather Joe. Being at one point, being at Top's highest paid Forbes, top highest paid athlete at one point. The lifestyle that he did live, you understood once you stop fighting, once you retired, regardless of what investments you made, there are no investments in this world, I don't care who you are, Uncle Joe, that you can make that can still accumulate that type of revenue that the sport that you play can. It's not that many. You got to hit. You got to get in good and hit it when it's hot, and it happens very seldom. It happens very seldom. So I hate this. I hate this for you, my young bull, man. I hate this for my young bull, Floyd. Hopefully this situation gets rectified, especially when it comes to having people around you, having other people in control of your finances. That's a no-no, Unc. Joe, that's a no-no.
Today it is common to see elite fighters sitting ringside wearing custom diamond chains worth $300,000. But as Hunter points out, those expensive chains immediately begin losing value. Instead of putting that same money into 4 or 5 income-producing properties that could create lasting wealth, many athletes choose to tie up their money in luxury items that exist mainly as status symbols. A fighting career is incredibly short, and everything can change in seconds because of one mistake, one injury during training, or one punch landing at exactly the wrong moment.
The young guys, I tell them all the time. I haven't told them, but I wonder, why when you start making big money, the next thing I do, I see you at the ringside with $250,000, $300,000.
Well, they ain't never had it, you know, and it's like, that's what they've been looking at when they didn't have it.
Here's a case of having men around you. Where's somebody to say, wait a minute, man, you can take this money, put yourself in a position where you can own the jewelry store over a period of time, and then you can wear everything free, like Johnny Dang, right? He owns the jewelry store, so he can bling up anytime he wants to, any which way he wants to, because he owns it. You got something around your neck that's going to depreciate, right, in time. So you take that 300 and you can go get 4 or 5 houses, put 50,000 on houses in certain neighborhoods, and now you got income coming, equity building, and everything like that. It's none of my business, but it does affect me in a way when I see value around your neck. When I see generational wealth being put around your neck and hung up in the closet somewhere when you're not doing it. I see generational wealth.
When your entire reputation depends on being the richest person in every room, living a quiet or modest lifestyle no longer feels possible. Instead, you become trapped in an endless cycle of showing your wealth simply to protect the image you have created.
When you go buy, a Bentley or something like that, you see?
If you can afford it.
If you can afford it,
but that's the tricky part. Can you afford it?
Can you afford it?
You know?
Not the flaw. So But it's a short sport. It's a short game. It can end at any time.
Straight up.
Anytime. I don't care how good you are, anything, one wrong move.
Just be an injury.
Wrong punch in the wrong place, and it's a wrap. You see, and you never recover from that. So, no, I appreciate when you got out, and I don't ever have to look back. You know, I used to tell you, I don't never want to be an old coach on a stump, sitting somewhere talking about, man, I should have done this because I allowed somebody to keep going and getting brain damage. I don't care who it is. If I got guys in here now and they don't look like they got it, I'm going to tell them. I don't care if you got $1 million payday on the table. I'm going to tell you because I'm not going to sell out to money.
Yeah.
You know, I care about you. You're in a sport that you can get hurt, killed, it affect not only you, but your family and everything else. You know, so take the sport serious because it's a serious sport. It's a deadly sport. And then when you have ability and you going through the routines and everything is shining your way, still something can show up out of nowhere. There's always somebody that's your kryptonite. Always somebody that's your kryptonite. And usually you meet them at the time that your skills are eroding.
That constant pressure to maintain the lifestyle eventually creates another major problem that many fans rarely consider: huge tax bills. Chael Sonnen and Joe Rogan have both explained that the public often misunderstands how much fighters actually keep. The enormous figures announced before major fights are reduced by promotional agreements, management costs, and business deductions long before the money reaches the athlete. Then another major challenge appears when taxes become due. Someone may write a $25 million payment to the IRS believing everything has been settled, only to later discover another $50 million is still owed. It is not always the result of dishonesty. In many cases, it comes from poor financial planning and the belief that another massive payday will eventually solve every problem.
Rogan highlights a massive discrepancy between flashy social media claims and verified tangible assets.
Which I don't know if Mike is, but most fighters aren't. Most fighters concentrate on fighting. To be business-minded, that's a giant distraction. You got to pay attention to all this other shit. On top of that, it's generally not how they think.
Right.
You know? I mean, look at Floyd. Like, Floyd spends money like it's a tap. Like, he's got a tap. Just like unlimited amount of money. Money's just flowing. And even as much money as he's made in his career, which he's probably made as much, if not more money than any boxer ever, like, there's all these lawsuits. Like, he hasn't been paying things, and he owes money on this and owes money on that. And it's like, and then he's got to come out of retirement.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think it's just the lifestyle that Floyd lived.
Yes.
I think he can't fathom to just live a modest lifestyle. It's like he got to be lavish.
Right. He's got to have those videos where it shows you all the watches, where he opens the case up, you know.
All the money. He got to show that he got $1 million in his backpack. And, you know, he got the latest watch and the latest car, and look what I just bought.
And when you get into latest watches and latest cars, you get into that shit. Like, boy, that money goes quick.
Yeah.
Bugattis are like $3 million. There's watches that are $3-5 million. That's crazy. So you buy a watch and a car, you're down 10. That's nuts. That's nuts.
Crazy.
I remember Iran Barkley was talking about that.
What happens behind the scenes presents an even more difficult financial picture involving borrowed assets and ongoing debt. Behind the public image of an untouchable billionaire, several reports have raised concerns about significant unpaid obligations. Critics claim the boxing icon owes more than $1 million for luxury jewelry, together with hundreds of thousands reportedly unpaid for high-end apartment rentals, as well as private jet fuel and maintenance expenses.
When he was in his prime, was hanging out with all these professional athletes, and everybody was getting diamond-crusted chains and this and that, and he was keeping up with these people. Like, you got to keep up with the Joneses. And he just found himself, like, draining all of his money. He was talking about it like that was the biggest detriment to him being able to save any money.
They trying to keep up.
Yeah. Which I thought was funny when I was listening to this conversation with Chad Ochocinco. He was talking about it. He was like,
his jewelry fake.
Yeah, he was wearing fake jewelry.
But who would know?
What's that?
Who would know?
No one know.
Ochocinco.
Exactly.
It's
fake
like when
jewelry,
they look at him, like
flying economy. He was sleeping at the stadium, like, so he didn't have to pay for an apartment. So smart.
Yeah.
So clever, you know? Yeah. But that's a guy, like, preparing. Like,
nobody gonna question him. You know, they know, oh, man, this NFL star, he got money.
Yeah.
You know, so we're not going to question if his diamond's real or not.
Well, you really can't tell.
Right.
I can't. You can't tell until you get a magnifying glass on them.
Or that's why they say we got these diamond testers.
Yeah.
They want to test your diamonds now. Like,
even more surprising is the reported method of securing large amounts of cash. According to reports, a $54 million loan was obtained from a billionaire carrying a steep 9% interest rate. To receive that money, valuable homes, luxury businesses, and even a private jet were reportedly used as collateral. Once someone has to place their most valuable possessions at risk simply to gain access to cash, the warning signs become much harder to ignore.
Of course he's broke. He's a boxer. Did they say can't read? That's not to tease him. They say that he can't read. His best friend at the time said that he can't read, and he never denied it. I don't tease him for it. He was a guy who grew up in a boxing gym, right? It's one of these things. You know what you know. You know what you were taught. I didn't teach him about contracts. I didn't teach him about saving. I didn't teach him about investments. Who would have taught him these things? Of course he's broke. He's a gambling addict. He's got baby mamas all over the... What do you mean is he broke? Of course he's broke. What boxer do you know that isn't broke? What a ridiculous question. But it's the fact that they're attempting to tease him. I mean, first off, they're asking the question. Look, I've told you until I'm blue in the face. The numbers that you hear in boxing simply aren't true. Floyd made $1 billion. No, he didn't. Floyd and Conor made $500 million. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. Nobody's ever confirmed that. Literally nobody. It's the same thing with boxing pay-per-view. Whatever boxing pay-per-view is the biggest boxing pay-per-view of all time is just whoever put out the press release and lied more than the person before them. These have never been confirmed by leadership of a publicly traded company, who is the one that supplies the pay-per-view. It is illegal for them to lie. You have never heard Time Warner, you have never heard Cox, you never heard DirecTV, you have never heard an executive come out and confirm any of the absurd pay-per-view numbers that you believe to be true. And it's the same thing with the check. I got $100 million for a fight. Oh, you did? Who signed the check? Whoever signed the check is going to want credit for it. There's never been a time that $1 million check was written and the dude that wrote the check didn't make sure that somebody found out he wrote the check. So who wrote the check? Floyd's got a whole bunch of them, apparently. He got $1 billion. Who wrote the check? And I'm only sharing with you, like, the numbers aren't what you think they are, right? The numbers are good and they made a lot of money, but it's not what you think it is. And yeah, of course Floyd's broke.
Those financial concerns have also reached the courtroom through a major legal battle. In early 2026, Mayweather made headlines throughout the sports business world after filing a $340 million lawsuit against Showtime networks and former executives while seeking a huge financial recovery outside the ring. At the same time, Business Insider reported that several commercial properties connected to his portfolio had already entered foreclosure proceedings. Reports also claimed that his famous Las Vegas strip club property faced the possibility of being taken by local authorities because property taxes had not been paid.
So he's gotten money up front that he needed desperately. Again, I know people don't want to hear this, but he's bleeding money. Why do you think he sued Showtime, Al Heyman, Steven Espinoza? Why do you think these are happening, people? He's selling property. He just sold his Beverly Hills mansion. You have a jeweler suing him for $1.4 million. Financially, he is bleeding money. And this is something that's been happening for years, by the way. I actually made a video years back about Floyd possibly going broke, and people are like, oh, he's not going broke, Jay. What do you call this? What's going on with him and his behaviors? He felt like, he's made a lot of money, but he also felt like he was cheated out of money. You know why? See, you never notice money is missing until you start losing money, and when your money starts to run low, you realize I should have more than what I have. That's when you start seeing the lawsuits. He doesn't want to fight. This is just the
financial situation becomes even more complicated when looking at the collapse of businesses connected to his promotional operations, which turned ordinary business matters into personal disputes. One major example is the continuing disagreement with digital creator Logan Paul over a reported $1.3 million payment connected to their exhibition fight. While many people blamed those at the top, the real situation appears far more complicated because the promotional company responsible for handling the payments quietly shut down, leaving those expecting payment frustrated and without their money.
For payday. One of the other claims is about Floyd selling his jet and not receiving any money. There's mention in the complaint that the block for the purchaser was left blank. What the media misunderstood was that the plane wasn't sold for $1 like the complaint lists here. Here's the actual signed contract, which does list the consideration of $1 and OVC, and you can see Floyd's signature down below. I think what was misunderstood is that the plane didn't actually sell for $1. OVC means other valuable considerations, which means the sale was for more than $1. This happens when private parties don't want the amount known to the public. Here's the text message between Jonah and Floyd. Jonah sent the payoff letter from the lender of his private jet, as well as a letter from Navy Federal Credit Union regarding a $2.787 million payoff. What happened was Floyd took out a large loan against the value of the jet. So when the jet was sold, a large chunk of the money went to pay off the loan and many of his other debts. Here's the payoff demand statement for the jet. Highlighted is borrower named Floyd Mayweather. The total loan payoff is around $2.79 million, and the highlight in the bottom left is the property collateral as the Gulfstream Learjet. This is the bank wire transfer receipt from the credit union. Both of these documents were sent to Floyd, so he's clearly lying about the jet only selling for $1 and him being out of the know on the jet selling. The picture on the left is Floyd signing the contract, and the picture on the right is Floyd holding the aircraft purchase and sale agreement right after signing it. Does he look disappointed in the terms of the sale? This is the text Jonah sent to Floyd in September 2025, indicating that the house and airplane contracts were done, and Floyd responded, "Let's go." To make it even more clear that Floyd knew about the plane purchase and the terms of the purchase and sale, here's a text between Floyd and Jonah where Floyd writes, "Can you call me about the plane, please? I need for you to update me, please." And Jonah responded. One of the other claims is about Floyd selling his jet and not receiving any money. There's mention in the complaint that the block for the purchaser was left blank. What the media misunderstood was that the plane wasn't sold for $1 like the complaint lists here. Here's the actual signed contract, which does list the consideration of $1 and OVC, and you can see Floyd's signature down below. I think what was misunderstood is that the plane didn't actually sell for $1. OVC means other valuable considerations, which means the sale was for more than $1. This happens when private parties don't want the amount known to the public. Here's the text message between Jonah and Floyd. Jonah sent the payoff letter from the lender of his private jet, as well as a letter from Navy Federal Credit Union regarding a $2.787 million payoff. What happened was Floyd took out a large loan against the value of the jet. So when the jet was sold, a large chunk of the money went to pay off the loan and many of his other debts. Here's the payoff demand statement for the jet. Highlighted is borrower named Floyd Mayweather. The total loan payoff is around $2.79 million, and the highlight in the bottom left is the property collateral as the Gulfstream Learjet. This is the bank wire transfer receipt from the credit union. Both of these documents were sent to Floyd, so he's clearly lying about the jet only selling for $1 and him being out of the know on the jet selling. The picture on the left is Floyd signing the contract, and the picture on the right is Floyd holding the aircraft purchase and sale agreement right after signing it. Does he look disappointed in the terms of the sale? This is the text Jonah sent to Floyd in September 2025, indicating that the house and airplane contracts were done, and Floyd responded, "Let's go." To make it even more clear that Floyd knew about the plane purchase and the terms of the purchase and sale, here's a text between Floyd and Jonah where Floyd writes, "Can you call me about the plane, please? I need for you to update me, please." And Jonah responded, "Plane is ready to close."
In the end, this is the demanding cost of building an entire legacy around money. When wealth becomes your personal identity, even rumors about financial trouble can threaten everything you have created, forcing you to return to the ring again and again just to silence the critics. Whether these exhibition appearances are seen as a brilliant business strategy or a warning about a lifestyle that cannot continue forever, one fact remains impossible to deny. The entire world still stops to watch whenever the opening bell rings. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our future uploads. Also, let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we will see you in the next video.